guys, welcome back to the channel. Today we're doing a tea time discussing Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, and I have with me an expert.
That is right. Hello, my name is Scourge. I'm a pretty big Turtles guy, I would say, especially within the last year or so. I have a bunch of the comic books and a bunch of like action figures and stuff, and I've also been writing, shameless plug, I've also been writing Ninja Turtles fan fiction over on AO Free. You can go follow me on AO Free at the True Scourge with underscores with the spaces if you want to go read my stuff over there. We'll probably be talking about that later, but right now I will be, like Hella said, I will be talking about Ninja Turtles and the like today.
I will link all of the necessary socials for Scourge down in the description below. Now, Scourge, me and you have talked before with the other members of the Multicultural Gang about Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
Yeah.
Since you are the expert, how far back do you want to go, or where do you want to start?
Well, let's lay the groundwork real quick. We're gonna go over the basics super quickly, and then we can go in any direction we want. So, we're going to start with a very brief history of Turtles itself. So, way back, the Turtles were created way back in 1984 by the creative duo of Kevin Eastman and Peter Laird, two guys who came together with their shared love of comic books, and they wanted to make a book themselves, and they were like hashing out ideas. And one day, I think it was Kevin Eastman who drew a picture of a Ninja Turtle, just like a turtle with like nunchucks on his wrists and stuff. And Peter thought it was very funny, so he drew his own Ninja Turtle, and then they both drew 4 of them, and they had Ninja Turtle, and then one of them wrote Teenage, and another one wrote Mutant. And that's how the name Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles came from. Just two guys shooting the shit. And they made the first issue as just like a one-off, sort of a parody send-up to comic books like Daredevil and The Dark Knight Returns, like comic books that were really big back then, that they really enjoyed. And they didn't expect it to hit as big as it did, but they printed like 30,000 copies and they all sold out, which was big for indie comic back in the 80s. So they decided to do much more, and that's how we get the whole franchise now, with like multiple comic series, multiple cartoons, toy lines, movies, all this sort of shit. And that all comes from two guys in an apartment out in, I think, Massachusetts or Northampton, and they were just having fun, and now we got action figures and cartoons and shit, and that's really cool to think about.
Yeah, my introduction to Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles was the 2003 Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles that was on WB Kids, I think. I'm old, I'm 32, I've been around a while, and then I got into it again where they made April O'Neil black, and the Piss Babies were oh so mad about it. Because why is she not my hot ginger? And I'm like, guys, chill out, please. It's not that serious.
Yeah. And depending on who you ask, a lot of people say that April O'Neil was originally black in the original 80s comic, which is sort of half true, kind of. Let me explain. In her very first appearance in the second issue of the book, she was white, but in issue 3, she started to sort of, I can only describe as anamorph into a black woman as the issue went on. And then by issue 4, she was just a full-on black lady. And she stayed like that for like the original run of the comic from then on. So she was black for like a very long time, way like before the cartoon even. So it isn't necessarily a new thing.
So she reversed Michael Jackson. Instead of a black man losing his melanin, she was a white lady who gained it. That's alright, whatever, I ain't even mad about it. It's your comic book.
Yeah. And like Ninja Turtles has done race swapping of characters a lot. Because like Baxter Stockman, one of the one of the reoccurring villains across the series is sort of like a businessman who makes these little robots that attack the turtles. He was originally a black guy, and then in the original cartoon in 1987, they made him a white dude for some reason, and then every other iteration has been a black guy.
Hey guys, can we have one consistency that other than the turtles and Splinter? One consistency?
There's barely any consistency in the turtles. Like the origin has been different, the characters have been different. Like there's some consistency in the way some things are told, but even when it comes down to the origin story, a lot of the time, like the biggest difference with the origin story is, for most of it, is Splinter the man or is Splinter the rat? Because in the original story and the 2003 cartoon and then the movie, Splinter is the rat of, like, the pet rat of Hamato Yoshi, who is the man who got killed by the Shredder. And then in other things, like the 87 cartoon, the 2012 cartoon, a third thing that I don't remember, he was... Hamato Yoshi is Splinter, and he got mutated into the rat. And my personal favorite interpretation of the origin comes from the fantastic IDW comic, where Splinter and the Turtles were humans way back in ancient Japan, and they were killed by the Shredder and reincarnated decades later, hundreds of years later, as Splinter the Rat and the Turtles.
Did they have Japanese... See, now that brings up a question as somebody who's not well-versed. Did the Japanese turtles have Japanese names and they were not named after the Renaissance masters?
They never gave names to the human turtles from the past. They never gave them names. But
I can't be mad about that. Sometimes you don't... It's like, that's not really important to the story.
Yeah. And in the IDW comics, they get their Renaissance names from April because she's working as like an internship at one of Stockman's labs, and she gives each of the turtles names since they're like running tests on them at the laboratory. That's also how they did the turtles getting their names in the Michael Bay movie. And I remember a lot of people got upset about that, even though that's how they did in the comic.
There was a Michael Bay movie about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles?
There were two of them. I think it was Michael Bay produced. He didn't direct it, but it was like under his studio.
I'm gonna look this up on my phone, because I might have just been busy when all this was happening.
Yeah, it was like around the time of the show. I think the first one came out in 2014.
Oh my god, 2014. I was 2 years out of high school. I had college girl shit to do.
That's fair. The movies are uneven. There are parts that are good and parts that are bad. They were going to whitewash Shredder in those movies, but they got backlash, so they had to ADR in normal Shredder.
Why can't they just... There's plenty of Asian actors and actresses in Hollywood. I say that knowing that I've thought of all of them right now, and it's like not even a whole two hands.
Yeah, I don't know why they wanted to do a whitewash Shredder. I guess it's like Iron Man was really popular at the time, and the idea they had was like the Shredder suit is like Iron Man armor, but they had to quickly re-edit the movie so we never see the guy. We see the guy in the plug suit before he puts on the armor, but we never get the scene where he puts on the armor. It's always like him and the Shredder are two different entities in the final film, and it's done really messily.
Tony Stark built this in a cave with scraps.
A box of scraps.
Oh my god, I can't believe that running joke in this Discord is now a running joke in this talk.
Yeah, that's how life works out, you know?
Yeah, I'm trying to think of all the Asian actors and actresses that has nothing to do with this, but I just, Michelle Yeoh, Jackie Chan, Jet Li, the guy from Everywhere Everything All at Once, who was the original man that starred in the Goonies, whose name is escaping me, but I'll find a picture of him when I'm editing this. It'd be like this guy.
Yeah.
Awkwafina, that's 5. And I'm like, there's one more, and it is the elusive 6th Asian person in Hollywood is gonna escape me. I'm gonna be mad about
Is
this.
it the guy from Shang-Chi?
I think so. 6. There are 6
Yeah.
Asian people that I can name off the top of my head in Hollywood. I'm sure there's more.
Yeah. They did get Jackie Chan to play Splinter in Mutant Mayhem, which is the latest movie as of right now.
Nice.
Yeah.
My personal experience with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has always been from childhood, right? When it was on television, because I never really got into it. Like, I liked the idea of it when I was younger, but I feel like as I got older, I wanted the story to age with me. And then every time I got excited about new Turtle stuff, it was made by overgrown man-children who would not let the series age with them.
Yeah. Well, that's why you turn to the comics. Like, the shows are very much aimed at a younger audience for the most part. The comic books were always intended for like a teen or more mature demographic. Like, there's a lot more like violence and deeper themes in the comics, even though the comics do get rather goofy sometimes.
Well,
but like, if you're looking for
They're mutant turtles that know ninjutsu that are named after the masters of the Renaissance and were raised by a sewer rat. At some point, you
Yeah.
do have to suspend your disbelief.
Yeah, just a little bit. Like, it is a misconception that the original comic was always, like, super dark and edgy, even though it was really... When people talk about the original comic, they only really talk about the first issue. The run as a whole is the closest in tone to the original comic would actually be the 2003 series, which makes sense because the 2003 series is like a direct adaptation of those comics for like the majority of the run. Yeah.
The one that everybody likes to talk about, and by everybody I mean all of my nerdy friends, so small betting pool. But I remember the one that everybody I knew used to talk about was Same as It Never Was, which was like a 4-part ending to that series
Yeah.
that I swear to God I never watched, but
Okay.
they swear Up and Down happened. Shout out
Okay.
to my friends who decided to go onto the high seeds and actually got me this so I could physically watch it one time. I was like, what? What am I watching?
So, let me explain. It was not the finale of the show. It happened like midway through season 3 or 4. What it was, Same as It Never was a singular part of a big 5-episode story arc where a villain who the Turtles have fought previously came back and used an item called the Time Scepter to split the Turtles into different timelines and alternate realities, and each one of them got to go on a separate wacky adventure. Michelangelo hung out with superhero versions of all the Turtles. I think Raphael did like a motorcycle race. Leonardo was with a character from a different series, Miyamoto Usagi from the Usagi Yojimbo books. And then Donatello got the sword end in the stick and went to the bad ending future. Then that's where Same as It Never Was happens.
The bunny rabbit is a samurai, right? Am I remembering that correctly?
Yeah,
Okay.
the bunny rabbit's the samurai.
Okay. Do you know what it is? I can admit that my hysterias persist. Sometimes I sit there and I'm like, did I fever dream this, or was this an actual event that happened in my life? So
But I feel like it's a lot of Ninja Turtles.
yeah,
Like,
that's like, I watched with my nieces and nephews the newest Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie series where Donatello likes K-pop, and I had a whole minute where I was like, okay. I wasn't even mad about it, I was just like, I guess in retrospect that makes sense that a lot of tech people really like K-pop and J-pop. I say that knowing damn good and well I'm a tech person, so I like K-pop and J-pop, so it's like, I feel weirdly called out, but I don't know why.
yeah, like, yeah, in the newest series, like, he likes K-pop, he likes anime. They basically made Donatello a big weeb in Mutant Mayhem, which, like, it's better than most other adaptations of Donatello. Like in 2012, where they made him a simp.
Isn't that him in all versions? I feel like every version I've seen him in, he cannot ever win over April O'Neil, who is not down to clown like that.
It's only ever been 2012 that Donatello is a simp. They made Leonardo the Simp in Mutant Mayhem, but in other series they're like neutral with April. I don't know why they tried to make. I don't know. Like I say this being someone who ships Raphael with Casey Jones. I don't know why they keep trying to ship the Turtles with April officially. Like you can have your you can have your fan stuff, but having it official in the show, I'm not sure.
Yeah, it's weird that I'm about to sneeze. I can feel it, so I'm gonna try and hold it in while I say this sentence. It's weird that every time that they make any type of mutant monster or anything like that, they always have to ship them with the female lead in the show. Like, Creature of the Black Lagoon. Realistically, we do not need the monster to kidnap that lady. We really don't. The movie works just as good if that event doesn't happen.
Yeah. And hey, we got a whole movie made by Guillermo del Toro about how awesome it is to have sex with a freaky monster creature man.
Oh, Guillermo del Toro does movies so good. You know what it is? I would love if Guillermo del Toro got to have free reign of Hollywood for like the next 5 years for movies, if he had full supremacy over it. For no other reason than he seems to have a intrinsic understanding of the odd and macabre. I think he would actually make a really cool Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles movie.
Oh yeah, I can see that. Yeah, like there's definitely a lot of elements of Ninja Turtles which are sort of like otherworldly or horror-esque that like if Del Toro made a Turtle series, he would absolutely go ham with like the creepy aspects of it, and I would love to see that. That would be so cool.
Yeah, the main thing that I think that a lot of Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles things are missing, I say as a very, very weak plebeian of the franchise, is you guys need to understand they're fighting crime and an evil Japanese Yakuza organization constantly. Also other mutants and whatever the Krang are. Krang? Kellogg's.
Yeah, the Krang. Those are space aliens.
That's what I mean, though, right? It's like there's so much happening in this, and somehow, amazingly, religiously, we keep missing it, and I don't know why.
Yeah, they get crazy with it. Like, you read the original comic, and the first issue, like, they fight the Shredder, and like everyone will tell you, first issue, they kill off the Shredder. They bring him... He got better later on, but they kill off the Shredder in the first issue of the comic. And then they fight Baxter Stockman. And then issue 3 to issue 8, they're in space, hanging out with Galactic Federations and a robot named the Fugitoid, and hanging and doing shit with... They are fighting alien Triceratops people in a space arena on an asteroid. It's fucking... They just go fucking crazy. Full sci-fi within the first, like, 4 issues of that original run.
Yeah, I feel like the Turtles are a very much product of the 80s. Do you know what I'm talking about? Like He-Man and like She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. You would have to overhaul the entire series from the roots up in order to make it palatable to more modern audiences, but Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles has the unique advantage of being silly. Do you know what I mean? Like, It's not that serious, my guy. We can, in fact, make this a little stupid and get away with it.
Yeah. Like, the blessing... Well, I would say the blessing of Ninja Turtles is it was always made as a parody, but a sincere one. They play the bit straight all the time, and you're able to get these stories that have a lot of... You can go super goofy with it. You can be like the 87 cartoon, where we're doing wacky one-off adventures, where like the turtles travel through time and meet dinosaurs, or like go to space, or fight any number of weird, wacky mutant characters. Or you could have like a more subdued, metaphorical story with a lot of emotion and weight and deep complex conversations about things, and it does not feel unnatural one way or another. And like that is the golden blessing that Ninja Turtles has, that they're able to be super silly or super serious, and it fits perfectly no matter what they do.
Right, because like She-Ra and the Princesses of Power, when it got rebooted for that Netflix series, shout out to my older siblings who were alive for these events, they said that the original She-Ra was straight up goofy to the maximum all the time, forever and always. So It's like, okay, if it was goofy to the maximum forever and always with only like a sprinkling of plot, I understand why they had to reboot it so hard for the new She-Ra, where she got to wear pants instead of a bikini. But you know what? That's a personal bias. And then I had to go find on my own, because people were talking about the He-Man Masters of the Universe series and how it was super dark and everything, and I was like, the show from the 80s where the man literally wearing a Speedo and gay Skeletor? Are we serious? What is we doing?
I don't know why we thought that Kevin Smith making a super serious and dark He-Man series was a good idea, but apparently someone did, and like, I haven't watched it myself, but with what I've seen, it is very much a man in his 40s, his interpretation of what He-Man was.
He was just...
And I'll leave it at that.
He was just a strong guy in a Speedo, running around chasing his gay skeleton, who was doing goofy shit.
Yeah, it's just...
I can already feel that somebody who's really into He-Man or She-Ra is about to be in the comments section being like, actually, and I'm like... Please just keep it to the comments. I don't care.
Yes, please. Let's keep the discussion civil, everybody.
Okay. Shameless plug for what we've got going on in the server. Me and Scourge and a couple other people in my Discord server were hem and hawing around with a series, and the main motif of the series is vines, but as like a cohesive story. But then Scourge wanted to make his specific character who is a worn-torn veteran of the animal plight, which sounds cool because you do need balance in these stories. So it's like, yeah, sure, he could be the wizened old veteran.
Yeah. Which
does actually balance out, and I think that's a thing that a lot of newer iterations of shows are missing. I am fine with the goofy silliness. Adventure Time was built off of being goofy silliness. But please, I need something of substance at some point in this.
Yeah, you just need that.
Am I gonna get crackers?
Yeah, you just need that extra bit of detail, that like deeper meaning and such. And like, that's why the IDW comics are my favorite, because they're able to strike a perfect balance of like, they can be really goofy, but for the most part, they're like super serious and sincere and emotional books. And my favorite part about those books is that the original run, which the main book is about 150 issues, and you include all these side books that they came out with it's like 250. It's all consistent. They keep it so tightly knit and consistent from the very first issue until the end of that run. For the most part, it gets a little sloppy towards the end. But like, my favorite character of all time in Ninja Turtles, Old Hob, you can follow his story from that very first issue he appears in, where he's like just an out and out bad guy, all the way to the end, where he's like this morally complex anti-hero sort of character who has done bad things, but he sees them as correct in his brain for what he's trying to accomplish, and it feels natural over this run that lasted like 14 years. And I think that's like, you don't get that with other comic books. You don't get a level of consistency like that with other books. And I find that amazing that they were able to do that for that long with that series.
Yeah, 13 years, that's a whole, like, Lord of the Rings trilogy actually done well and drawn out and not done by Amazon.
Yeah, and like, it lasted from the original run, because it got like a soft relaunch where it's in the same universe and picks up where the story left off, but they're trying for it to sort of be like a reboot. But the original run, it went from 2011 until 2024, like a big 13-year run that is so consistent. And like, it's not like they had the same writer for the mainline book for the first 100 issues, and then they swapped it out for a different person. And then you got different writers working on the side books, and all of them like work in tandem with the main books, so it all just feels like it's all the same story, even though it's different writers and it's different art styles and it's different tones and it's different themes and it's different all this stuff, but they tie it all together so perfectly. It's magical to watch it play out.
Yeah, I feel like that is sometimes a risk that is taken when they bring new writers into stuff, is because I sometimes feel like, did nobody like give this guy a BTW, this is everything we've done up to this point?
Yeah, I absolutely feel like they had someone on the writing team like pull the new writer aside, whatever they were writing for, and give them like a Bible of everything that has happened and sort of vague plans of where it's going so they can keep it consistent. And they were able to do that for 13 years. And then it got really messy.
I feel like with all stories that go on for long periods of time, that's just a natural consequence of the story happening for too long. Do you know what I mean? Like, alright, we have to hurry up and finish this. We've been here for way too long.
Yeah.
Which is not a mark against stories in general. Like, that's not... I know that my voice can sometimes come off as aggressive. That's not what I'm saying. I am simply saying that in certain respects, if a story goes on too long, you run the risk of this is happening too long and it's not making sense anymore, even to us, the writers, because it's been happening for so long.
Yeah. They managed to finagle their way around it in a way that works out in the end. And I feel like that's something special for a book that's been going on for that long.
Yeah, no, for sure. Another thing that I have noticed consistency-wise with Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is they always, for reasons unknown, flip-flop back and forth to me of who's the leader, Raphael or Donatello, Leonardo. I know.
Yeah.
And I'm like, so is there actually an answer, or are we just going to play this will they, won't they game forever? What is happening?
From the beginning, we're talking like in terms of... Like, it's always been Leonardo who's been the leader for, like, the majority of all the Ninja Turtles. He's the guy in front, he's the leader, and everything. But in Rise, they made Raphael the leader. At least for the show, I think Leo becomes the leader in the movie, but I don't remember. But Raphael starts out as the leader, which was a change of pace because it was always Leonardo. And Rise is the biggest change in the whole franchise because they changed the designs and they changed the personalities and they changed the backstory and all this stuff. And I like it, but to a point.
Yeah.
Like, I feel like there's a point where, like, I stop liking it as much compared to others.
Yeah, I think it was an interesting choice to have the turtles all be different species, because I was like, oh, alright, I'll give it to you. That is an interesting deviation from the norm. I personally enjoyed it, is because why would the turtles all be the same thing? In a lab, there's thousands of different animals that are all in the same subspecies, but they're not all the same species. So why would it all just be box turtles? I say that knowing damn well I have a turtle. So I was like, look, I'm biased, but like, guys... What are we doing? Yeah.
I do like Raphael's redesign for that series the most, because they just made him like a really big snapping turtle. And that works for Raphael, how they did that.
I think the funniest line from Rise, and it made me giggle so much, it's like, I didn't know if they knew what a week was. I was like, oh man, this is super sibling coded. I don't know if you know what a week is. It's like... So you can't be mad. If you have siblings, this is how you sometimes talk to each other. I don't know what you know. You didn't think I knew what a left-hand turn was? You still have to hold up your hands to see which is left and right. Let's not play games.
Yeah. I like Rise. Rise is the most popular Turtles franchise, at least among like Tumblr people,
Hi.
because hello. And I can absolutely see why. Mostly because they made Leonardo really gay for that show. Like, that's the gayest Leonardo has ever been. And, like, people have already made Leonardo gay in the past. This isn't new. They just amplified how gay he was in Rise.
Yeah, for people listening and who maybe don't know, so in TMNT Rise of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles, the boys are reimagined as different species of turtle. I know that is a big word for Elmo, so this just means that all the different variations of a turtle that you can see are represented in this. Like, Donatello is a soft-shelled turtle. Soft-shelled turtles are goofy as shit. I'm so sorry for people that think they sound cool. They're not. They're the goofiest of turtles you'll find.
Yeah.
Raphael is imagined as a snapping turtle. Snapping turtles historically have been able to take people's, toes and stuff off. They're aggressive, mean little bastards.
Yeah.
Mikey is the only box turtle in the whole group. He is the standard that started the whole thing. Leonardo is the only species of turtle that is colored with red stripes. Red striped turtles are very much aquatic turtles. Red striped turtles are also an invasive species of turtle that made their way here to the Americas. So people that have them as pets, you can only have them in specific states because there's no natural turtle population to be pushed out. That's the fun fact of the day.
I know that.
Right. Are you saying that it's wrong to be gay, Helen? No. I am saying that to make the future leader of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles have red stripes on him to differentiate him from all of his brothers means that even if all of them were box turtles and he stayed the same, he would still be the most colorful and interesting character of the lineup, even if all the rest of them were just box turtles.
Yeah. And it's also down to the fact that Ben Schwartz voiced him, and Ben Schwartz always, he gives it his all with every single role he's given.
Right. I also want to touch on this. Other than the fact that they always try and ship one of the turtles with April O'Neil in recent adaptations of the Turtles, and that's like the 2003, 2012 versions. Historically, I'm cheating and I'm looking on my phone for the rest of this series, for the rest of this conversation. Historically, the Turtles were designed to be the everyman stereotype, so that way the people reading the book could see themselves in the Turtles and pick which one specifically fit them the most, even though they were carbon copy cutouts of stereotypes of the comic industry. Example, Raphael is the comic stereotype of the gruff man, the detective, the do-gooder, the vigilante. Which, you know what? I'll give it to you. Whoever wrote this article, shout out, thank you for writing it. Which I think is true. I feel like for comics, specifically early 80s comics, everything was a stand-in for the everyday man. It's the original isekai. Pick your player.
Yeah, but the Turtles have always sort of been like a BuzzFeed personality quiz, because Raphael is the angry one, Donatello's the nerd, Mikey is the fun, lighthearted, goofy one, and Leonardo is stoic. Leo has always sort of been the most boring turtle among the four. He has a lot of interesting stories, but if you just look at him, he's the least interesting because he is the most sort of generic personality type, because he's just kind of the leader. And they try to mix him up in other series to various extents. So he's always been tricky to get right. But they try to mix up their personalities sometimes. Again, with Rise, they mixed up their personalities. But for the most part, they're all really stock. And your favorite turtle just reflects who you are as a person, sort of.
Which is not a bad thing for comics. Can I get on my soapbox for a second?
Go right ahead.
So the reason why I particularly stopped reading webtoons is not because there were no more interesting stories. There are interesting stories. I am just tired of constantly being shoved the same cookie cutter cutout fucking romance book where it's the comic artist OC going through all this gish gallop bullshit that I cannot stand anymore, and it's not an interesting story when she's so fucking terminally boring. What are we doing? I will forgive a lot. And I do mean that. I will forgive a lot in a story if the story itself is interesting. Bad art, I can completely ignore it. Bad sound design, I can completely ignore it. If the story is good, I'll forgive anything. But if you have bad art, bad story, bad sound design, I will never go back. In fact, I'll bitch all the way out of the store and leave bad Yelp reviews. That's how much I hate it. I ask for one thing in a story, for it to be interesting, and if the characters are stock characters, that's fine, because that makes them at least a little bit interesting to read about, because, I wonder how they're gonna make this one go now. There's only four dialogue options. I wonder which one we're gonna choose.
Yeah, I feel like sort of a secret goal of this conversation is to get you to read the IDW comics, because they are really, really good.
So Scout and I had this conversation divorced from this recording. I do read comics. I've just been a Transformers girly my whole life, and the newest run and iteration of it, I cannot get into. So until it's done and over with, I won't pick them back up, and it's been a minute. I should check again, but I don't want to be disappointed.
It's still going with the Skybound. From what I've seen of it, it's pretty good because they got Daniel Warren Johnson, who I really like as a writer and artist. I own one of his other works, Do Up Powerbomb. That's a really good book. But I can see where someone would be a little turned off with his run of Transformers. Like, he killed off Bumblebee in the first issue of that book.
Yeah, I'll be honest, my bias is Bumblebee, because Bumblebee in one of the original comic runs is cool. Hella, which one did you read? That's none of your business. That's a private between me and God conversation. It made me cry. Anyway, Bumblebee is my bias, right? I can admit that. Bumblebee is my favorite. Who's your second favorite? Starscream. I know me.
Yeah.
But no, it's the reason why American comics are vastly different from their Webtoons counterpart, and Webtoons counterparts are completely divorced from, like, manga. And I feel like the only overlap is that they are hand-drawn mediums in which to convey a story. And, like, that's a lot of work. As an artist who likes to draw, drawing is hard. Drawing is a lot of work. It's a lot. But at the same time, we run right back into it. I'm willing to suspend my disbelief on a lot, and I do mean a lot, but I want a story.
Yeah, and hey, you get a really good story with the IDW book. Ooh, go read those. Ooh.
Oh my god, fine. Send me the link to the stupid website. I'll start reading.
I don't have one, unfortunately. I wish I did.
But no, the main thing I have always taken away from Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles is it goes with the population of people watching it. Does that make sense? Like, I grew up on the 2003 ones, and then I was alive for the 2012 one, but I was out of high school, or graduating high school at that point, going on to college. Being aware of it doesn't mean I watched it. It means I was aware of it.
Yeah.
Because
I get
it wasn't
that.
for me, right? It was for the next group of kids. It goes with them. And now I'm an auntie at 32, and I've been watching the ones where he likes the K-pop. Is this fucking movie about me?
Yeah.
Which, it's not a bad thing that it grows with everybody. Every generation gets their version of the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. It's okay.
Yeah, and that's a good thing. But you wish there was still a version of the Turtles for you.
Not even really for me. I just want them to pick a struggle. Pick a struggle. Either redo the designs or iron out the timeline on this shit and make it make sense. Pick one.
Yeah, and trying to think. Yeah, like all the shows, they are definitely within their era of creation, because the 80s cartoon, they were making toys before they were making the episodes.
Yeah.
Is like very classic 80s cartoon style. 2003 was trying to be like the Batman series. 2012 was trying something new with the CG animation. They were trying to take it in like a different direction with Rise and Mutant Mayhem. They tried to... I really liked what they did with Mutant Mayhem with having the Turtles end up going to human high school. Because that's a type of story that we've never seen from the Turtles before. Because they've always been like the shadow protectors of New York City. Like they've been ninjas hiding in the shadows and everything. This is the first time the Turtles have been interacting with humans on like a normal person level, like just going to high school and having high school shenanigans going on while they're doing their turtle stuff.
Right, and it's a nice deviation from it, but again, mine is, guys, please pick one struggle. I actually, at this point, don't even give a fuck about the art. Just make the story make sense for me.
Yeah, and they have the Turtles going to high school in Mutant Mayhem, and in the comics, they did a story arc where part of New York gets mutated and creates like another borough of the city called Mutant Town. And that's a really interesting storyline because we're following like this adjustment to this new way of life for all of these people, and they have the arc where like they have to reintegrate into normal human society, and I wish they were going more into that currently. They aren't right now. They're doing whatever. They're doing stupid shit right now that I have a lot of feelings about.
I mean,
I wrote a whole fan fiction.
I mean, you got 10 minutes, you could pop off.
Yeah, if we're approaching the end anyway, fucking... I really don't like the current relaunch comic of IDW. There are parts that I do like about it. It's not all bad, but the parts that are bad are really bad. I'm writing a fan fiction to shamelessly plug in the last 10 minutes. It's called The Revolution Will Not Be Publicized. And the concept behind it is there's a character in IDW called Sally Pride. And she started out as like a member of a group called the Mutanimals as sort of the driver. She has the ability to like drive any vehicle at all, no matter what it is. She's able to drive it perfectly. And in the storyline during Mutant Town, she ends up becoming the leader of Mutant Town, sort of the president of the borough. And in the relaunch, they do not cover where she is during the storyline, which is like the new district attorney has the power of the Foot Clan by his side and is sort of hostile takeover of the city, and also he's a bigot towards mutants. And I thought they would... I was wondering where Sally was, so I wrote like a one-off fic explaining where she was during the story. And then they had a side book called Mutant Nation, and they had an issue that had a story featuring Sally in it. And I was really interested in, how they going to explain where she was. It was really bad. She was relegated to basically a side character in a story she shared 50% of the billing with, because it was also with Baxter Stockman, who at that point in the run is the mayor of New York, but is running for president. And oh my god, they treated the current storyline of this hostile force that wants to eradicate the section of the city that Sally is in control of and that she's fought for really hard all this time. She treated it as like an afterthought. The human policewoman cares more about the fucking situation in Mutant Town than the borough president, and that really rubbed me the wrong way. So I wrote 6 chapters in a week of the first volume to get out a lot of frustration, and I have a lot more planned in the future, but we got that prologue and we got the first six chapters out in the first volume. Excuse me. And I am very excited to continue writing it. I got the first chapter of the second volume done. I just really need to get back into it. But yeah, I really don't... There are so many things I don't think we have time for me to go over all of it, but there are so many things in that relaunch that are like, man, either the writer didn't give a shit or editorial fucked them over. It's one of those two. Especially towards the end, editorial just fucked everything up because the ending of those first 12 issues is really bad and really stupid. I don't know why they did it like that.
Yeah, that's something that I have come to find out on my own, because what we've been talking about in here, right, divorced from this conversation, the editorial team apparently also has to take cues from legal team. I was like, there's a legal team before anybody gets to do anything? That's wild. The reason why that there is a legal team is because if you make a specific character making fun of, let's say, anybody in office, anybody that's a celebrity, blah, 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 that have their own lawyers, which suck on the souls of the innocent as like a pastime, they don't want that smoke. So you run into the editorial team being like, this is a tad illegal. Says who? Free speech. You think so.
Yeah.
So the editorial team is like bound hard in like a fey bargain with legal, so that's sometimes why the story's just like, this seems dumb. Yes, legal said, no, don't do that. So the editorial team said, no, don't do that.
Yeah.
Which, again, not a bad thing, but like, art suffers.
Yeah. I can definitely see where that crops up in the book. But there are also parts of the book that are like, this had to be drastically rewritten for some reason. Maybe it's a legal reason, maybe it's a different reason, but definitely, like, they end the storyline in a way that feels unsatisfying, that feels rushed, that feels really dumb and doesn't even make sense within the context of the book that's going on. And man, I wish I had more time to just rant. But we're I think we're running up on time right now.
You got 4 minutes, so if you can TLDR it, you can do it.
Okay, the TLDR, okay, let me just, spoilers for the last, like, few issues of the relaunch book. The Turtles are being put on trial by the district attorney for, like, crimes they didn't commit because he wants to, like, throw them in jail wherever. They set up this dramatic moment where the Turtles are praying in the courtroom for someone to, like, come and help them. And you would assume, from everything they built up to that point, April O'Neil, wearing Casey Jones's gear, because Casey's in, like, a coma, and she took his gear, she would assume that she would show up and save the day and get them out of the courtroom, and they would have to, like, go into hiding and fight the district attorney later. What they end up doing is the people of New York City come into the courtroom miraculously to testify for the Turtles, and then April shows up with a bunch of incriminating evidence towards the district attorney. By the way, he's been rigging the fucking trial all the way up until this point. The trial has been completely rigged up until this very moment, where April brings out all of this evidence of all of this back shit that the district attorney did, and he loses the court case in the fucking ending that is the most forced, rushed, stupid, happy ending that I've seen since Bad News Bears 2. And fuck. And then he gets, via magic bullshit, he gets turned into a chimera, and the Turtles have to have a monster battle in issue 12 for no fucking reason. And then we end with the biggest punch to the balls. They just bring back to life Splinter, who was dead at the time, in the most emotionally impactful moment of the comic that reshaped everything, like the biggest status quo change. They kill off Splinter, and now we gotta move on without him. Like, so many interesting stories we can tell with that, and they were being told before the relaunch, and now he's just back now, and we ruined that emotional that emotional moment, that like gut punch. He's just alive again for no reason. And man, that's just so fucking stupid.
So, like, it's like the Dragon Ball Z dragon, like, hey, you could bring people back to life because you found all the Dragon Balls. If I was that dragon, I'd be like, you guys keep finding me, and every time that you are here, I have to bring somebody back to life. I'm beginning to get sick of seeing you. Stop finding me just to bring people back to life. Sometimes it's okay that people are gone.
Yeah, I don't know why exactly he got brought back. Some magic bullshit, because there's always some kind of magic bullshit going on in Turtles. But like last time we saw him, he was drinking Mai Tais in the afterlife, and like he looked like he was at peace being dead. But now he's alive again.
If necromancer ever managed to, because I want to be cremated when I die, if my necromancer ever manages to bring me back from my ashes, I'd be like, I'm haunting you for the rest of your natural life. I just want to be left alone now. I did my time. Why am I back?
Oh yeah, I get that. Anyway, I could go on for way longer. I could talk about way more things, because there's like a bunch of stuff I didn't even get to talk about, and I would love to in the future if we have like a part 2 or whatever.
Yeah,
but
if this
I
video
think
gets 2 likes, we will definitely. I set the bar so low because my channel is very much like only 5 people show up. If this gets 2 likes, we will do a part 2. So yeah, thanks for coming to today's tea time about the Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All relevant links to Scourge and his amazing fanfiction, which I've read, will be linked in the description below. Scourge, do you have any parting words for the audience?
Please go read my work. It is very good. I want to hear all the nice words from everybody. If you can find the IDW comics, I highly recommend them. They are all fantastic. Everybody, you enjoy your time. Have a great day. All that good stuff. I'll see you when I see you. We gone.
Bye, guys. Thanks for coming by.